I am not a doctor. I am not a psychiatrist.
I am not a patient.
I don't have a degree in sociology or psychology, but what I do have is wealth of experience and a sincere desire to help you. Because sometimes love can get messy. And sometimes, if you're not careful, love bites. Welcome to Love Bytes, everyone. Sorry for the initial technical difficulties. Obs is kind of being a bitch. Tonight, our guest is Timothy Shindigs Young. Hello, Shindigs. How are you?
Woo! Yeah, I am great. So awesome to be here to answer everybody's burning mafia or, love questions.
Yeah. So, without further ado, let's just jump into unless you have something you want to say.
Now let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's shoot them down.
Let's do it.
Shoot 'em down
Okay.
one by one.
Question number 1. Hey Neil and guest, whomever that may be. I'm having trouble with this girl, a few years older than me. I met her through one of my friends when they were doing a sleepover at my friend's house, and I just so happened to crash there that night with them. We barely slept because we had so much in common. It was crazy, but she is 3 years older, meaning we don't see each other much. We only sometimes Skype, but I still feel it's too distant. I was wondering how I could bridge this age gap, or if you think I should give up, and let us just be friends. P.S. Thoughts on love at first sight, and follow-up question for him. He is 16 years old. Timothy, how do you feel about this?
Well, I thought this would be an easy question to answer because my own girlfriend is older than me by 2 years. And I was pretty young when I met her. I was 18 and she was 20. But it was kind of the same thing as we would stay up all night talking to each other. So I understand the situation, but the fact that he's 16 is a bit troublesome because there are obviously laws. And even though if your intentions are well, you can still get you and your partner in a lot of trouble. So I guess the best advice I could give to him is, keep it friendly, keep it on low down, and actually the age between 16 and 19, like the experiences you go through and the transitions you go through in life are so drastic that you have to kind of keep an open mind that anything can happen at the moment. But there's no harm in keeping communication open with this kind of person as well. But it's a really hard question to answer, and I feel like I'm no lawyer to even begin answering kind of legal stuff that's tangled up in there.
Yeah, I mean, let's try and avoid the legal aspects of because
but the frustration is there, right? Is that you are 16 and this person that you adore is 19, right? And then you have to be aware that there's this other barrier other than the age barrier there.
Yeah, that's for all. I mean, I don't know where they're from, so for all we know, the age of consent in that country could be 16.
That's true.
They could be in Canada or Europe or Vatican City. So, assuming no legal complications, I've dated someone that was 5 years older than me once, and up until that point, that had been my most happy, most successful relationship ever. So I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with an age gap.
Definitely not.
Age gaps are totally legit. I think the real issue here that you kind of danced around is that you don't often see each other. If you're 16, she's 19. I don't know if she's away at college or something. Mm-hmm. But the real problem is the distance, not really the age.
Yeah.
And long distance is pretty rough. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I mean, I would just like to emphasize it's not really the distance. Well, it is the distance as well, but also, like I said, it's also the life transition kind of thing.
Yeah.
While you're someone who's in high school, like a third year in high school, not even on the verge of graduating, and someone who just got into college, like, I wasn't someone who would spent my college years like partying it up or doing a lot of things. I was
really.
I was too busy perfecting my mafia skills so I can lynch scum every single night, Wednesday night, 6 p.m.
I always thought Shindigs was the crazy party guy.
No. Okay. What? Whatever. Whatever, Neil. Whatever. So, but like, even if you are in college and you don't do those kind of things, like just sticking to yourself and like going out with friends every once in a while, or like doing your homework, whatever you do, like college is a pretty crazy transition time in your life. So that's something to really keep in mind and not to take personally if someone like just happens to draw distant over time while they're in college, because it can be like a whirlwind of stuff going on, whether it be academics or social life or everything like that. So I think
Yeah.
that's like one piece of advice if I would give to him if they were to keep in touch, because I feel like long distance, especially between colleges and especially at that age, is like really really tricky
Yeah.
because of those reasons.
I mean, on the other hand, maybe this person isn't going to college.
Yeah, that's the other
You
thing. I'm
know, I
making these
mean, if
assumptions.
she's just headed out into the working world, not going to college, then it's not that big of a deal. But what you were saying is absolutely true. Like,
Yeah,
the person you are when you enter college is nowhere near the person you are after your first year, much less the
yeah,
person you are after your fourth year.
yeah.
It's a ridiculous period of transition and change, and you go from being this,
Yeah.
much
It's
smaller
like
individual
the
to a much
difference
bigger
between
individual.
shit town and like pro town. Like if the
It's the
gap
difference
is
between
that big.
kiwi
Yeah.
and I don't know, mango, or gravity and mango.
Yeah, it's like the difference between gravity and mango. Yeah, that
Yeah. If
like
you
you
guys
just said.
watched Mafia last night, this makes sense. If you didn't watch Mafia last night, trust me, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So college can be interesting period of transition. You might not keep your same friends from high school.
Mhm.
Um, I know a lot of people that are no longer in touch with their high school friends anymore, even though they swore we'll be friends forever, and they went to different colleges. Now they never talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually that way with a lot of my friends. So
Terrible.
it
Terrible.
sucks. So
Terrible.
don't worry about the age gap. Worry about the distance and possibly like the life changes.
I
But
think
on the
the
other
life.
hand, I
Oh,
mean,
sorry. Just one more
oh,
to
yeah.
help on the life thing is like, the age, like you said, the age doesn't matter, but it's like if you're in the same situation in life, like it doesn't matter what your age is. So like, Neil, you said you dated someone 5 years older than you. Like
Yeah,
if
I
your
was like 20 and
lifestyles
she
are
was 25.
compatible, that's
Hmm.
actually a pretty
Yeah.
big deal.
Actually, similarly, she moved to the East Coast to go to medical school. So
Oh yeah.
then we had the long distance thing, which was didn't work out, but we had ended it amicably. Um, but so we've kind of been saying, watch out for this, watch out for that. But I think the another part that we kind of should touch on here is that you should go for it anyway. Like life experiences are great, and the worst thing that you're gonna do is be heartbroken and crushed, which sucks, but it's good for you. Like you want those heartbreaking experiences because they teach you about the world, and you're happier for them in the long run.
Yeah. I mean,
Don't
it makes for excellent Reddit posts, blog posts, music,
You can get a lot of karma
a
off of
lot of
that.
karma. Like seriously, like on the positive side, you have like awesome dinner stories,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um, and all those fun things that come with terrible life crushing experiences. But
Yeah.
at the same time, at least when I was 16, I hated when people told me it's like you're only 16, it doesn't really matter. But trust, like
Do
I'm
it.
from the future now. Like I come back from the future to tell you, you could like just have a ball.
Go
That's
for it.
all.
I
Yeah, go
would
for it.
pursue this as much as possible, but expect. I don't want to say expect failure, but
Yeah.
you know
Keep an open
when
mind for
things
anything.
do start to fall apart, if they start to fall apart, try not to take it too hard. Try not to be like, oh, what could I have done? What It's my fault.
It's like
Age gap.
StarCraft.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like StarCraft. You don't always win every match, but go for it. There's nothing wrong with an age gap as long as everything's legal, and it's okay to get your heart broken. It's worth it. It's definitely worth it to get your heart broken. So I think that's question number one. Unless you have anything else you want to say on it.
No, I think we hit up every single point there. So I hope that helps. I know, at least in that situation, it would be really tricky, and there's a lot of like internal conflict in that. So I just hope for the best for Mr. Joe.
For Mr. Joe. Okay, so here is. Whoa, this is not going to fit. There we go. Barely doesn't fit. We'll
Yeah.
just pretend it fits. Um, so this is a question from a James McQueen. First of all, no. Sorry, skipping to the actual question. To come to my question for Love Bites, I have recently taken up online dating. It's not that I have difficulty talking to women, but I do have difficulty engaging unknown women. You shouldn't get engaged if you don't know them, is my first comment. I thought online dating would be the perfect remedy for that. However, because of me trying to avoid being seen as a sexual predator for easy pickups and hence
Yeah.
not sending meaningless messages like, hey babe, want to have some casual sex, which is hilarious. I don't think anyone would phrase it that way, but
Yeah.
anyway. I seem to always end up having long winded conversations about pretty much life, the universe, and everything, but with a complete lack of sexual tension. I'm on the highway to becoming a few girls' awesome gay buddy who's excellent to talk to, except that I'm not gay, and I'm very much interested in engaging in somewhat more physically with these gorgeous and fascinating women. Okay, work on your English a little bit. How would you suggest to bring more edge to the treacherous path of online dating, and at the same time trying to avoid to be just another guy looking for a quick lay?
I have
So,
a question.
do it.
He wants the sex, though.
Well, clearly, I mean, he's
Okay.
interested in sex, but
All right. But he doesn't
so
want the
I think what
sex.
he's trying to say is that he wants relationship and sex, but he's just getting relationship, and he's like, wait
Yeah.
a minute, I don't want to be your gay friend that we talk to. I want to be your boyfriend that we talk to, and then we have sex, and then we do everything that you would in a relationship. So, I don't know. How do you
Uh,
approach this?
this is this is a hard question because I honestly have no way to relate to this person at all. I'm sorry.
You've got to find some
Okay.
way to relate to this
Yeah,
person.
I've got to do it. I've got to do it for this. So, I mean, I guess the best thing to start, like from the foundation, is like you just have to be straightforward with these people that you are looking, because this is a very weird kind of question, and the fact that the context is very hidden in the sense that what does he mean by I just have these long conversations? Like, what does that mean to both people? Like, are they having, like, he just says they have long conversations about the universe and life, but at what level of emotional engagement are these conversations? That's really hard to gauge. He says it's not like, very, there's no sexual
Mm,
tension or like there's no emotional connection, but the other person could see it differently because the other person's needs are just like not so much physical. Like the other person may just
hmm.
want the life, the universe, and everything, and to them that's a very fulfilling relationship, right? And there's nothing wrong with wanting sex in like a fulfilling relationship like this guy. It's just for me, it's extremely hard to gauge where the expectation is, and I think Neil, I need your help a bit
Okay.
here.
All right. So I'm interpreting this as he's looking for an actual relationship with everything that entails, but
Hmm.
he's getting the vibe like he'll talk to these women and he'll have a
Hmm.
great time talking to them about all these wonderful things,
Yeah.
but I think he's getting the impression that they are enjoying the conversation for the conversation only and has don't see him as a viable candidate. To which I would say, good job for engaging. Like
Hmm.
I've always taken the approach that you should be friends before you date, that you should, have a common interest and have some sort of like connection and chemistry before you like jump on the wagon, jump on the horse, whatever the saying is. I don't think
Yeah,
there's a saying. I think I'm making something up.
that's fine.
Um, but what I would say is, while you're engaging, you need to start inserting a little bit more personal material. So you can talk about, oh, everything means all this. Hey, I had a really great time talking to you. Maybe do you want to go get a cup of coffee? Or hey, maybe do you want to go do something like you need to like start engaging at a more personal level. And then once you're in, and you could do that by face-to-face interaction
Hmm.
because I'm assuming you're doing some sort of online dating in the same city, not just like across the world. Because if you're doing like online dating from, one location to another, like across the continent, you're not going to be getting that physical interaction at all. So I'm taking the stance that you're in the same city or near enough, right? So I would say you engage them, you have some interesting conversations where both people are interested in whatever, and then you make a move for, can we meet in person? Or hey, why don't we do this? And when you're in person, then you can make it known through body language and some more, context that you might be interested in something else, like after a funny joke, like any sort of physical touch, like an excuse to like push your hair back or like touch your hand over something. Any sort of physical contact really helps bring forward that, oh, this isn't just an interesting conversation. And also, when you have voice communication and body language, you might realize that, oh, they are interested in me for more than just conversation. Because in all of my personal experience and all of my experience talking to women, being able to engage someone in intelligent and deep conversation is like one of the biggest signs of attraction. Like one of the
Yeah.
biggest signs of attraction is that you're able to have like amazing conversation together.
Yeah.
In fact, I have yeah. Well, it doesn't matter. So I think you might be selling yourself a little bit short here, and you just need to kind of push yourself a little bit further. So I mean, because at the end he says, "How do you suggest bringing more edge to the treacherous path of online dating?" So to do that, I would say, great conversation, meet in person, and then bring it up naturally that way, or something. Shindigs, what do you
Yeah.
think?
I mean, I just thought of this right now. I mean, this is exactly like Mafia, right? Like right now you're kind of stuck in the townie mentality that you got to talk everything out, or you don't have to talk everything out. Obviously you have other needs, but like you want to do a lot of conversation, you're really good at the conversation, but if you talk, for extended periods of time without being direct, you can talk yourself out of a good lynch, or in this term, a good relationship. I don't know. So there's nothing wrong, I don't think, with being direct with another person, because at the end of the day, if you yourself are beating around the bush in some kind of way, it's kind of detrimental to the other person as well, because you're just wasting their time without making your intentions clear. You don't just have to be like, "Yo, that was a great conversation about the universe and Richard Dawkins and all this kind of stuff, but now let's do the casual sex." Like that's not the way to go about it, right? But like obviously, if you would be like, "Hey, that was really great. Let's maybe spend some more time together," I think that's a fine word to say. Let's spend more time together, or I feel a connection here, or I've never had to use these words, so stop me before like this train goes off a bridge or something. But like anything to just imply that you really enjoy spending time with this person, and you kind of want it to be more than like than just friends having really awesome deep conversations. I think is a really good next step to elevate you to pretty much next level meta. And that's that's my kind of thing. Is I feel like right now a lot of issues that are emerging are just from trying to figure out the best way to approach it, when you got to kind of suck it up as an American and just go with your gut kind of thing.
Yeah. Alternatively, you can use your deep conversation to move into that path. So let's say you're talking about the foundations of human society, and the things that, because you said deep conversation, right? So you're talking about like the origins of humanity, and we're talking about like the Fertile Crescent and ancient Mesopotamia, and then you go into, oh well, they had like these crazy fertility cults, and then you kind of like transition to that, and like you start talking about sex, and from more of an academic point, and then you like change that academic point, insert some humor into it, and then be like, oh well, what are you like? And then you kind of like are approaching a more intimate relationship or not necessarily relationship area, but you can like approach the questions of sex and sexuality, which will like hint heavily, hey, maybe I'm interested in this direction. And yes, Fertile Crescent was an intentional pun.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Well, I'll just say, because I have no idea about that, but I'll just say, I don't think it's gonna. If you're talking to someone and you're direct with kind of your intentions, and they don't understand, and they're like, okay, that's really gross, then maybe that's someone you shouldn't be spending your time with anyway. Because then they're kind of also wasting your time by just sucking out all this emotional stuff out of you, and it's actually the term is emotionally draining, and that's not worth either of your time. So if you are engaging in this relationship, and obviously gauge it yourself, like you're an individual, and I'm assuming an adult, like gauge it yourself and see kind of where you can push the borders. But I don't think there's any wrongdoing in trying to make your intentions clear of like having a relationship, and exactly where those physical boundaries are, because those are extremely important.
Yeah. Anything else you want to say on this, or should we move on?
Let's do it. Next level meta.
Next level question. Okay, here we go. In the male versus female matchup, is the British accent really OP?
Yes.
Yes.
That's my answer. Yes.
And other accents. Basically, any accent that's not your own is OP.
Yeah. I can back this up, because at times I can be pretty feminine, and I'm not afraid to admit that British accents, man, I like girls a lot, especially my girlfriend.
But you hear
but Kiwi.
Oh, you got a little thing going for the Kiwi?
The Kiwi, he's got such a smooth ass. He's a smooth ass. But I mean, really, like, there's something about like just an off English accent that's that's fantastic. I don't know what it is. Apollo, I just want to just take his face and just put it between my hands and just. I don't want to kill him, but I want to hold him.
Yeah. So
That,
accents are OP, um, but they're OP in the way that starting off with an orbital command in StarCraft would be OP. Like it gives them a jump start in the beginning, but in the long run, it doesn't actually make or break anything. You know, it just gives them like an extra, a little head start.
yeah.
You know, long term, the accent fades. Like it's that initial attraction that
Yeah.
the accents help with. So, you know, you're interested in girl, and there's another guy who's interested in her, but he's got like a really nice accent. You're gonna be behind. Okay, you gotta like macro like hell to catch up. You know, you gotta talk to her, hang out with her, and once the like attraction to the accent kind of wears down a little bit, which might take a while. Okay, you might be kind of screwed here, buddy. But you can get in there and be like, hey, he may have this one gimmick that runs for him, but I've got blah 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 and blah.
It's kind of like saying you're OP and everyone's OP in their own special way.
That's
Right?
that's the boring way of putting it.
That's the boring way of putting it.
That's the
Okay.
boring way of putting it. Yeah. I would just say, don't worry about it, dude. Or even better, leave the country, and now you have the sexy foreign accent that everyone's interested in.
That's some next level meta.
That is some next level meta.
That is some next level meta.
I would say you do that.
If you want to, okay, Neil, are you ready to go one level deeper with me?
Fake accent.
Okay, well that's not okay. That's the next level, but here's the other level.
Okay, the other level.
Move to a country where you don't even speak the language.
Wait a minute. Are you saying what I think you're saying?
Yeah, just move to a country where no one understands you.
And then
And then it metas it so hard that the fact that it's not even an accent that makes you OP, but the fact that you are not even literate in this other person's
oh, okay, you're
native
going like
culture
too
or
many
language.
levels beyond me at this point. I thought you would like go to a place where you don't speak the language, you know, well or at all, and then you can meet someone. You can do that whole, oh, I'm learning the language, ha ha ha, can you help me? Flirty, flirty, flirty. Best way to learn a language is in bed. Bam, done. GG.
That's also good too. I also
Okay.
heard foreign students are extremely promiscuous, so that's another idea that you can take and synthesize as you will.
Well, that's a glaring generalization.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, cool. I think as long as we got that, we can move on to the next question.
Yeah.
Let's see. How do I get my girlfriend into ballroom and dancing? I've always wanted to start dancing, but my girlfriend doesn't even want to try. She flat out declines everything I try to get her into. I had to talk with her to see if there's anything she hates about dancing or whatever, but it's nothing like that. Should I try to force it harder? Not to do it all, or wait, should I try to force it harder? Not do it at all without her, or try to go with another friend? Fun question. Do I leave her? Is ballroom worth sacrificing my love life? Oh my god, she's mafia, isn't she?
She could be.
She's probably.
How can you check if your significant other is mafia?
All right, well, let's deal with that question first. How do you check if
Okay.
your significant other is mafia? Do they come from Sicily? If so, they're probably mafia.
Could be. That's another gross generalization.
Probably.
Yes.
Well, that's okay. We can
That's
generalize
okay.
somewhat. Let's see. Do they often get up in the middle of the night for a glass of water, but they're gone when you wake up a few minutes later anyway?
And come back stained in blood, that might be a big tell.
The stain in blood would be a big tell.
Yeah.
Let's see. Do you notice lots of little secrets? That's a good way of selling their mafia.
If they're if they're a cop for the living, they're most likely actually a cop, but you kind of want to make sure they're not
Yeah,
faking.
go to their office and make sure that they.
If they are a
everything's
doctor for their living, it's more confirmed that they are a doctor, but you never know.
I would ask them to perform surgery on you to make sure that
Yes.
they're actually a real doctor.
Yeah.
But for this question, how do I get my girlfriend into ballroom and into dancing? I think we can do another generalization here and say, well, the question isn't necessarily how do I get her into ballroom and dancing, but how do I get her into something that she's not inherently interested in?
You know? So Neil,
which-
I have a question to ask you now, Neil.
Do it.
Does your girlfriend like esports?
She is mildly interested. She used to play StarCraft back like in elementary school and junior high school. In high school, like she'd play on old Brood War ladder, just kind of whatever. She wasn't very good. She'll watch some matches with me from time to time, and she'll ladder on her own sometimes these days. But she's not like heavily into it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like the idea here is like if your significant other is like really into you, they'll probably support whatever. So like assuming you're really into ballroom dancing and you just don't want to do ballroom dancing to, I don't know, do something else. I'm not sure what you would do. Like you're actually passionate about ballroom dancing, then like I think further down the line that your girlfriend will eventually understand like this is what you want to do and maybe she'll give it a shot. Like I kind of can't imagine unless there was like an extremely traumatic ballroom dancing experience in which one or more people have died in that experience for your girlfriend, then
But he even says I had a talk with her, and it's not like she hates dancing.
okay.
Yeah, so that's
Well,
not it.
I don't know. Like for me, it was weird because my girlfriend wasn't like super into esports, but she knew it was like a thing I kind of did. And then when she realized like the magnitude of how the esports power level I was engaging in, she kind of like, tried to dabble in it a bit, but it's obviously not for her.
She's
It's
almost more
obviously not.
esports than you now.
That's true, but it's like obviously not her thing, right? So this is kind of the same read I'm getting out of here. It's like
Yeah.
ballroom dancing isn't obviously her thing, but maybe down the line she might, on the other hand, there are a lot of things we don't know about this question. Like, are you guys currently going through a lot of things in life right now where you can't take the time to do ballroom dancing? Like obviously you've made the time to do ballroom dancing, but she doesn't have the time at the moment. She's getting a new job or just working really hard, or at the moment she just wants to chill out. She doesn't feel like doing new things or anything like that. I'm
Also, how
sorry.
long have you guys been together?
Exactly, that's another one.
This guy Mario is 18, 19. I'm sorry.
Okay.
So if you've only been together 5 or 6 months, and she might not be willing to commit to trying something new with a guy that your relationship is still new. I take it. I don't want to say it's not valid or anything. But
She
she
might
may
be
not
in
be.
another castle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's the deal. You got something you're really interested in, and you want your significant other to try. What you do is you make it clear to them how important this is to you. Like you really like it'd mean the world to you if they did this,
Yeah.
and you kind of just spell it up. Be like, hey, I would want to take some ballroom classes. I would really love it if you take them with me. It'd make me feel a lot better. Would you please do this? And if they're like, no, I just don't feel comfortable. I'm not interested. I'm sorry. That's not the sort of thing I want to do. If they stick that line firmly, go without her. Go with some friends, make some new friends, whatever. Just go and do it on your own. And after you've been doing it for like, a little bit, you can come home and be like, hey, babe, I just did this amazing ballroom class, blah, 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 blah. Why don't I show you some of it here? And then, you can turn on whatever music you have and like teach her like a little waltz at home. And that way she can go and do the ballroom without actually having to go and do the ballroom. And it's just the two of you. And it's definitely more of like a couple activity. And then after like a couple of those, and if you always come home interested and be like, oh my God, it was so much fun. Look at this new thing I did. I learned, did crossbody lead and salsa, but then I'm going to do a reverse turn at the end of it and it's going to be sweet, or I learned this new swing lift. It's amazing. Then your girlfriend like, oh, well, this might actually be cool. And she might get used to it and then want to jump in. A lot of people are, aren't good with trying new things. So that's a nice way to lead them into it.
Yeah, luckily here, this like interest that you're talking about is something you could, like you said, like you could bring home.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like, oh my God, I love rock climbing, and your girlfriend's like, no, rock climbing's not my thing. And then you go and you have to do rock climbing, like, somewhere, obviously not your house. You can't come home and start like scaling the cupboards or like crawling up the edge of your house and be like, look how fun this is, babe. Like, it's just not going to work.
Yeah.
So luckily...
Actually, that sounds pretty awesome.
Actually,
that sounds really
scratch
awesome.
All that I said. Do exactly everything I just... But like, yeah, like dancing and ballroom dancing is like something really awesome that you can show off indoors in the comfort of your own room. Like, maybe you don't even have to tell her. You could just start dancing. She'll be like, what is this extremely attractive activity that you're doing in front of me? Mm-hmm. And then boom, you got it. So,
or you know, here's the even better thing. I hope you're watching this with your girlfriend now, and if not, you should get her to watch the replay of it.
I won't. No.
Not you, him.
Oh, okay. Oh my God, no. Yes.
Tim. Okay. Go to the ballroom dancing class, and you're going to meet 1,000 women that are super interested in ballroom, and that might be your princess. That might be the castle your princess is located in, buddies. Nina's in here. So you know what? Go for that instead. I mean, I'm not saying drop her, but I am saying if you go to ballroom, you might find yourself more interested in another girl who might be better than your current girlfriend. It's possible. I, I've met a lot of very attractive girls through ballroom that I've dated. You know, my current girlfriend I met through ballroom. We've been dating 3.5 years. So, GG,
Boo. GG.
GG
Boom.
kids,
John.
GG.
GG Mario. Too bad. Sorry about your girlfriend.
Okay, we're gonna we're gonna take a short break, and we're gonna come back with part two of Love Bites for today. All right, short break. And welcome back to part two of Love Bites for this week. Shindigs, are you ready to keep going with these things?
Let's do it.
All right.
I've set my phasers to love.
Oh, that's good. Good. Okay. My boyfriend is addicted to his cell phone. He won't put it down. He's always screwing around on it. What do I do?
Um, I'm just gonna go like passion rampage right now and just like break up with him. Terrible person.
Terrible person. Break up
Terrible
with him.
person. I mean, what do you mean? So this is actually a terrible question to ask me because I'm going to talk everyone's ears off because I specifically study how people act with technology. So what do you mean addicted?
What are you doing?
by
What do you mean you
cell phone?
specifically study it? Give us some credentials
I
here.
mean, like I like to study human-computer interaction.
Is that like
So
what you're doing your master's on?
yeah, that's what I'm doing masters on.
Okay.
So
That's
like
the credential we're looking for here, kids.
yeah, so like what do you mean by addicted to the cell phone? Who is he talking to? Is he addicted to talking to people on a cell phone? Is he addicted to video gaming on his cell phone? Is he addicted to photography on his cell phone?
I
So
think
is
the
he, like,
context
doing that?
is like looking shit up on his cell phone, maybe like texting,
Yeah.
playing video games, that sort of thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, it could be a problem if it's texting, right? Like, is he more engaged in talking to other people than you at the current moment? Like, that's obviously a big
That's
communication
a problem. Yeah,
That's a big problem. Is it? But if it's a problem of he can't put down Final Fantasy III, the Crystal Legends of the Crystals or whatever on his cell phone, that's a gaming problem, right? So I don't know. It's a different approach. Like, if he's talking to someone constantly and he's not paying attention to you, that's like a super. That's just not cool, bro. Like, that's like a serious conversation.
Yeah, if
No.
they are paying attention to their phone instead of you, then it's not so much an addiction to the cell phone problem. It's a hey, you're not giving me enough attention. I need more attention problem, which is
Yeah.
a whole which we can do 45 minutes on. And in which case he clearly doesn't value the relationship enough, or he doesn't know how to express his interest properly. And you need to sit down and be like, yo, if you're in this, you got to give me some attention here. And if you're not in this, peace out. I'm gonna go find someone else. You suck. On the other hand, if it is like an actual, is there, Timothy, as a master, someone who's working on your master's on computer and human action, is there such thing as cell phone addiction? Is there such thing as technology addiction?
I mean, I've only done a year of it, so I've only read a. I'm not like an expert on it.
I'm going to hold
but-
you accountable
okay.
for everyone's
God
consequences
damn
of
it,
this.
Neil! Okay. My personal belief is that technology only enables people's kind of inner things. Like, I mean, I understand that technology can be like very attractive, very addicting, but in the long run, I feel like the person's personality and the person's well-being plays a huge part in whether or not they're addicted or not. So if you have an addictive personality or an addictive thing, that plays a huge part in if you're going to be addicted to technology or something like that. So I guess the short answer is no. I don't really believe in that, but obviously there are issues of cell phone addiction and gaming addiction, especially in like South Korea or something like that. And again, in the context of this, I don't know what she means by addicted to a cell phone. Like, the word addiction gets thrown around a lot in terms of technology. That it's just a really hard question to answer, and especially if it's in context of he's addicted to texting other people while trying to pay attention to her. That's like not a cell phone problem. That's a huge like communication with other people and your significant other problem, and that should be like addressed extremely formally. A formal accusation on this individual.
I agreed.
Yeah,
I couldn't agree more. Actually,
I wouldn't rescind that formal either.
No,
No.
That's what you're gonna do. You're gonna go talk to your boyfriend and you're be like, hey.
Even if the game ends, it's more lynching them out of principle than anything else.
Yeah, I mean, this is clearly not working for you. You're unhappy in this relationship. You have to fix it, and you need the attention that he's not giving you, and that's legit. Like, there's nothing wrong with needing attention from your significant other or wanting attention from your significant other. Like, that's why you're in a fucking relationship. We're social creatures.
Here's the interesting question that I would ask this person if I had the opportunity to: is this person texting you as often as they're texting someone else, right? Like, that would kind of like start eliminating the variables where it's like, okay, when you're apart from each other, are you nonstop texting each other, right? It's like, can you not put the phone down in other situations? And then it might be like a technology thing, right? It's like, okay, this guy just really likes his cell phone a lot, but at the same time, he could be texting someone else.
But at the same time, if someone is more inclined to text you than to talk to you face to face, then you have a whole set of other issues. Either way, this is a serious problem that you should address, apparently. I didn't think it was that serious going in, but after discussing it, after getting to the next level meta with it, this is a real issue. You should really have a conversation and, I don't want to say throw down an ultimatum, but,
I mean, when you formal someone, you just want to get them to talk. You're not lynching them right away, but you're like, if you don't give me a good defense, I'm going to have you hanging at the tree, like, by the next morning kind of thing.
Yeah. All right. Good job. Good job. I think we got that one done.
You want to hold my hand? Are we going to go to the next level on this?
Yeah, we can hold hands.
All right, let's do it.
Let's see. No.
Okay.
My boyfriend lacks a social life. He is always leeching off of my friends and hanging out with us. Before I met him, he didn't really have a lot of friends he was meeting with, and now he just keeps hanging out with my friends. Is that a problem? Well,
this guy.
Well, your boyfriend lacks a social life, or is using you as his social life. That is not necessarily bad.
I mean, so we need a bit more definition here. So, I mean, I guess if anyone else in chat is in this situation, I'm not sure if we can follow up on this question, but it's like, is it getting in the way of your social life, right? Like, is this a situation where your boyfriend is like hanging out with your friends without you? God, that'd be really weird. And then he's like keeping you out, or
I read it more as like he didn't have any friends to begin with, and then when they started dating, like he co-opted her friends, so like he doesn't. His social circles are her social circles, and that's it. But like they were her social circles first, which is okay as long as everyone is cool. Like if he is hanging out with your friends and excluding you from hanging out with your friends, then you have a problem. But if it happens that like you guys are hanging out and he gets along really well with all of your other friends and he didn't happen to have any beforehand, and now everyone's happy together, you and your friends and him, and everything's great, then don't sweat it. Like that seems to be working for you. Just make sure that when you break up, you get your friends back. Call dibs on your friends.
Yeah, that's actually a really interesting problem you brought up.
Dibs should be called immediately.
Yeah, that seems like an interesting problem. Is like, I mean, they wouldn't ask this question if it wasn't a problem, right? It's like, it's not like...
Well, at the end it said, is this a problem?
Oh, okay, is this a problem?
Yeah,
okay.
I think it's more of like a, hey, this is a little bit weird to me. Is this an upcoming problem?
Yeah, I mean, it just gets weird where like you have to kind of be aware that relationships can end, and then at that situation, is he going to force your friends to take sides, or like is he going to annihilate your social circle? Like that's a really big issue that you should probably consider. But that's a pretty tricky situation.
Well, don't you have anything else to say?
Uh, I mean, it's just so odd because it could just technically nuke everything, right? Like, if he's like getting in the situation and then he starts excluding her, and then things could kind of go south, and then I don't want this person to end up in a situation where her boyfriend is going to essentially like steal this other person's friends, and like everything kind of explodes, right? So I think probably the best course of action would be to let them know that you're like, I don't know, a bit uncomfortable. And it is a bit unnerving that this person didn't have any interest beforehand because, you know, it was before you met this person and they weren't really doing anything with their life, according to this post. So I would actually maybe also try to get them into something that they're really, you know, then that's what makes this other person interesting to you, right? It's like they kind of have their own life and they have their own interests and they have their own things that they do. And if they don't have that and they're just kind of like, I don't know, echoing your own life, that would be a bit unnerving, wouldn't it? Like,
A little bit, yeah. If they're just walking in your footsteps, because
yeah.
you need to be like from everything I've read, a healthy relationship is where two people are fully functioning autonomous individuals. At least in the beginning, like you can function without each other. You're complete people on your own, and then you come together, and then you grow together, and then you turn into something where you're completely intertwined. But you start out as like fully functional individuals. If you start out and you're fully functional, but he is not, and he's kind of like meh, clinged on to you, that's a little bit weird. As like if you date for a while and like the clinging is less, then you're better. If it gets more clingy, it's not good. So as long as you guys are fully functioning individuals, I don't see a problem with you guys sharing social circles and him like only having your friends as his friends, as long as it's not getting in the way of your relationship with your friends. Like, as long as it's not causing any problems, I wouldn't sweat about it too much. I'd keep an eye on it and just make sure it develops healthily, but I don't think it is innately a deal breaker.
Yeah. I mean, I think this question is worded in that way. It's like they're kind of trying to gauge where this thing is.
Yeah.
It's kind of strange.
Okay. All right, we got a good one for the next one. Are you ready?
All right. Yes.
I introduced my girlfriend to StarCraft and Day 9.
All right.
She didn't used to be interested.
Uh-huh.
Now she has a total crush on Day 9 and watches all of his stuff and won't stop talking about him.
Okay.
That's the end of the question.
That's the end of the question?
Yeah.
That's more of a statement.
It's more of a statement, but I think it's a, like, you know, holy crap, what do I do? My girlfriend won't stop talking about Day 9.
This is, okay, so this is the anomaly. Don't take this for
Also, hold
whatever.
on. One quick statement. For any of you who are not StarCraft fans, first off, you should convert. StarCraft's amazing. And two, Day 9 is a big StarCraft caster and celebrity.
Yeah, he's one of the biggest.
Probably the biggest?
The biggest, yeah. So this is an interesting situation because there are many situations in which this has happened with pro gamers and then the girlfriend unfortunately leaves the previous person. So I can see where the concern is. It's like, I don't want this person to leave me for this person who they really admire and I could never be, right? Like there can never be multiple Day 9s unless we clone him and it's scary. The only thing I can give advice on is you have to give up because Day 9's amazing and you can never compete. So this is a great show, guys. Neil, thank you for having me on.
Well, I think it might be super weird that she's got this crazy celebrity crush, but don't worry, he's never going to go after her ever.
It's not weird at all, really, because
I mean, who doesn't have a bit of a crush on Day? I mean,
Day 9.
I mean,
well, it's not weird
right?
because I mean, like his entire like Day 9 is an extremely passionate guy, so like it's really easy. I'm not saying he's like brainwashing people, but like, you know, he gets people really riled up on like what it means to be passionate about what you love to do, and that obviously is really, I guess, like a pretty attractive thing to like draw yourself towards, right? Like you want to be inspired kind of every day of your life. You watch Day 9
I would
Day
suggest
do that.
starting to cast StarCraft.
Yeah, try StarCraft.
Try casting StarCraft. Make a career out of it. Hopefully, you can win your girlfriend back.
Yeah.
In fact, quit your day job and just do StarCraft. You're guaranteed to make money doing it.
Yeah, I guess the long story short is like usually fandoms like that is just something that's like completely normal. Like it's completely normal for a lot of people to just like totally fan out and talk nonstop about the subject that they really like. So
Yeah.
it's fine.
You know, I mean,
Long storm, I just say it's fine.
yeah, people get crushes on celebrities all the time. As long as it's not being damaging, it's okay. But I wouldn't take it too seriously. I mean,
If she gets a tattoo, might have to talk.
yeah, if she starts bringing that shit into the bedroom, you have a problem. But if it's just like, oh my god, did you see what he posted today? Then you could just replace him with anyone else. I mean, like, you know, she could have
Yeah,
a
I mean,
crush. I mean, hey, she might ask for some, like, you know, I don't know. We're not going there right now. Maybe you can.
if she gets a shrine, so here are some telltale things that you should look out for:
God.
tattoos, shrines, scars.
Does she run a
Changes her
Dana fan
name.
page? No.
Changes her name. Comes into the bedroom. Starts talking like Day 9. Sex changes, and then like starting her own daily show and calling herself Day 9 in this daily show. Those might be a couple signs that things aren't going too well.
Yeah.
Just throwing out there.
Yeah. But I would kind of approach it like any other celebrity crush and not worry about it too much unless it's actually freaking you out.
Yeah.
If she's like getting fanatical to the point where she's calling in on State of the Game and says, "I just feel we'd be great together. Maybe we should date," then you have a problem. But you know what? You're here for her. He's not. Eventually, she'll realize that. Don't worry about it too much.
Yeah. And this is pretty like low tier on the fandom scale, right? Like talking about the thing you like every day is quite
I mean,
alright.
if that's all
Okay.
she's doing, if she's just like watching all his shows and really likes the stuff he provides, that's fine. Like if she's talking about the content, but if she's just talking about him, like, oh my god, he's so cute. Oh my god, he's blah blah blah.
No, that's like next level, but it's not like
Yeah,
dangerous level.
it's not
That's not like
dangerous.
sleeping outside his house.
Yeah.
As long as we're not there, we're good.
Don't worry about it. In fact,
Yeah.
why don't you like Day 9 that much?
What's wrong with you?
Well, I mean, here's the honest solution. You ready? You ready, Tim?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Join her at her level of fandom, and then you both can be crazy Day 9 fanaticals and have like crazy. Then you can bring it into the bedroom. Then you can bring it all over the place as long as you're both at that same level. Okay. So the problem isn't that she's too far; it's that you're not far enough. That's
I'm
what
ready
you
for
do.
the next question, Neil. I'm ready for the next
Are you
question.
sure?
I'm ready. I don't. I'm ready.
Okay.
Neil, I think I've learned so much about you today. I feel like we're sharing a moment right now.
Okay. This question's gonna
Ready?
be a little bit on the more serious end.
Okay.
How do I come out of the closet to my parents?
Day 9 is really hairy.
That has nothing to do with coming out of the closet to your parents, unless that is one of the reasons you're coming out of the closet to your parents.
This is I feel like I actually can't comment on this because I just have so many people who have done this, and I feel like I'm just not prepared to even unpack the situation.
This is a far more complicated thing than I look. You guys saw the intro
This is on
video.
you,
I am
Neil.
not a doctor. I am not a psychiatrist. I don't have a degree in like anything sociological, anything like that. All right. So please take this just as the advice of two esports guys who are big fans and fairly intelligent. I would like to think that we're fairly intelligent. You know, somewhere above 80 on an IQ scale. I think we're okay here. So you got to come out to your parents. I would say you're the best judge of this. If you feel that it's safe, if you feel like your parents aren't going to hurt you or disown you or anything like that, then you should tell them. I don't know how
it's
though.
tricky because
Like I think that's one of those situations that really depends on your parents.
the United States is in such a state of flux on the issue right now, but I'll just say this. Obviously, if it goes great, done. Problem solved. Life is great. If it doesn't go good, then there's no reason why this person should feel bad about themselves or anything like that. There are many channels out there to help you get support until you can be independent away from an unsupportive situation. So if it goes great, fantastic, awesome. But if it does not, or you're in a situation where you cannot, if your community is not supportive of such lifestyles, then I just say you should seek some networks online to help support you
Yeah.
in your way. But I was born uh, not gay, so I did not have to go through that situation. So I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I can't really comment on that.
SMBC Comics did a great comic on this piece where initially for the prep, you tell your parents something awful like, Mom and Dad, I just ran over someone with my car. And then they freak out and you say, and
No.
I'm gay. And then you're like, okay, one of those two is true. I didn't hit anyone with a car. And then they're like, craziness. Maybe, no, it's probably not a good idea.
That's
I
not a
wouldn't
good
do that.
idea.
Don't do
We
that.
could be like, you could be like, I really like Day 9.
Like, I really like day 9. No, coming out of the closet to your parents is a really, really hard thing to do for a lot of people. And I guess you're struggling because you have parents who might not understand or accept, in which makes it all the harder because you wouldn't ask. No one, I don't think anyone would ask this question if they had accepting parents. Like I know when I was in high school, like when I was a sophomore in high school or a junior in high school, I hadn't dated any girls ever or had like any, anything close to a girlfriend. I didn't even have any friends that were girls that I would socialize with. And like my dad one day in the living room flat out said, he's just reading the paper on like a Saturday afternoon or something, Saturday morning, and flat out said, Neil, if you're gay, I'm okay with that. Like not even looking up from the paper. And I was like, Dad, what the fuck? I'm not gay. I just don't know any girls and I'm too socially awkward to meet one. So clearly you don't have your family is in a situation where you're worried that they may not be supportive.
Yeah.
So I would be careful, but if you feel like that's the sort of thing you got to do, then you got to do it. And as Tim said, there's online resources to help you. Maybe you can talk to some of your friends that have done it already and ask them for advice because we're kind of the wrong people here.
Yeah. Neil's an affluent Caucasian male living in San Francisco with a girlfriend. I'm an Asian graduate student who is also straight. Two of the worst people probably answering this question.
I don't see why you had to put those qualifications in there, man. Why can't we just be two people who have never gone through this? Why you gotta make it about race and income level and where you live and what you're doing with your degree life? What the fuck,
Next
man?
question. Next question.
Actually, that was the last question for this week.
Oh snap! Why you gotta do that to me, bro?
I know. We ended on a serious note. We should have reversed those two. We should have ended on the day 9 note.
Should have added on the day. Let's do one more because I can't.
Okay. All right.
I can't.
Okay. Let's take a question from chat then, because I don't actually have any more questions for this week. Does
Okay.
anyone in chat have a question here?
We gotta wait.
I recently started participating in a regular roleplay show game with four. No, don't give me those bullshit questions. We have real questions, guys. Come on. Is Neil Mafia? No, never. Never. I've never Mafia. I've never been Mafia once. There are no romantic advice questions coming in from chat. That's fine.
Friend zone or fan zone? How do you beat the socially awkward barrier?
How do you? I don't know what you mean by how do you get an ex out of your house?
Probably you have an ex-girlfriend at your house or ex-boyfriend at your house and you want them to leave.
Yeah,
probably.
But, I mean, don't you just say go home?
What if they live with you and you were in a relationship?
Oh, if they lived with you and you guys were in a relationship. Oh, actually, I have a couple of questions in my inbox from a while ago. Facebook is ruining my love life. How do I tackle this social network monster when my girlfriend insists that I don't have it and I don't want anything to do and doesn't want anything to do with it? How is Facebook ruining your love life? I don't understand.
That question makes
That
no sense.
question is incomplete. We need more information.
Yes.
Hi Neil, this one might be tricky to ask. All right, here we go. Ready?
I'm ready.
We're going to go over on our time limit today, but that's okay. Here we go. I am in love with a friend, and I kind of confess to him when under the influence. I don't know how he feels or even if he believes me. How should I do this? I don't have the courage to pick it up, but the problem is I am transgender and is between genders. So should I just ask? Ooh. This is another hard one.
So this person's transgender, in between gender, and the person they confess to is
A guy.
Ooh.
So I'm in love with a friend, and I kind of confess to him when under the influence. I don't know how he feels, or even if he believes me. How should I do this? I don't have the courage to pick it up. But here's the problem: I am transgender and am between genders. So should I just ask? Well, you won't get anywhere by not asking, and it's better to try and fail than not to try at all. Um, the transgender thing can be a really big deal for some people, especially if you're, as you said, you're in between right now. Like that can be. That's probably when people are, on the lesser end of being receptive to that, which is very unfortunate for you and for
That's a
the
hard
world as a
question.
whole.
There's like so there are decades of stuff behind this question. This is so hard to even
So
think about.
I think this is such a complicated question. We can only really touch on the simple levels of this. In which case, I am always a fan of it is better to have loved and lost than to have never loved at all. It's better to try something and fail than to not try at all. And you will regret things if you don't do them in life. So I would say, um, assuming that you would be willing to risk your friendship for a potential relationship here, I would bring it up. I mean, apparently this person knows that they know that you're transgender and working through it, right? Like, considering that they know that about you, and then they're still your friend, so then clearly you guys get along, and that you are transgender is not an inherent person, so they're not a total bigot, is what I'm getting at here. I would go for it. I don't know how to, um, but I think that you should try, because if that's what you want in life, you should go for it and don't be held back by things. Um, Tim, how do you feel about this?
Scared.
Scared, yeah.
Scared. Okay. It's really hard because it's like it's a really tricky situation because not only are they risking their friendship, they have like the life transition they're going through is like extremely massive and not obviously widely accepted everywhere. So I mean, I really can't comment on the situation other than like if you really feel strongly about it, go for it. But if it doesn't work out, and like in these situations where they don't work out, like they can like really not work out. Like I think the scary part here is not like, okay, I lost a friend and this is heartbreak and that's cool, I gotta move on. It's like I lost a friend and he thinks lesser of me as like a human being for what I'm doing right now.
But
Um,
apparently they're currently friends already, so that he
Yeah, I mean,
probably
I'm just
knows,
saying, like,
right?
it is like a tricky situation. I don't want to get tangled up too much. So, like I said, like if it goes really south, like, there's no reason to feel terrible about it overall.
Yeah.
Like, it depends, like you said, like it depends at your level of how much you really want to take the leap. But if it doesn't go good, then like you got to have a lot of confidence in yourself that it
Yeah.
just wasn't
I mean,
meant to be.
I would say currently, if you need him as a friend more than you need him as a romantic partner, keep him on as a friend. If you have other friends that you can fall back on and you're really into him, then I would say, go for it. How you go for it is that's complicated because you confessed, but he didn't believe you, or he doesn't remember, or I don't know how he feels, or if he even believes me.
Okay, so let's take this question and like chop out the really hard social, cultural dynamics part, which really scares me.
Okay.
And let's just do like I really like my friend and I got drunk and I confessed to him, blah blah blah, like that
Okay.
part, right? Like
Let's
without
tackle it one part at a time. Let's do that
yeah,
part
one part
first.
at a time is okay. So that in that situation, like it's really I think like the sooner the better kind of thing. It's like the longer you wait after the situation to be like, okay, this is what I really meant, the worse it kind of goes on because you're actually wasting each other's time in that sense. Like you gotta move quickly after those situations. So like the day after, or like 2 days after, be like, hey, let's get together and do something, or I just want to talk to you about something, and just be direct. Like, I got being intoxicated, and I said something, but I kind of really meant this thing because you're a really awesome person. We should get a house in somewhere and raise a family, whatever, or not, and like just do all of that, as quickly as possible. Otherwise, you're dragging it on, and they might forget, and they might think, oh, it was just made up, because you don't know if that love is going to be reciprocated, right? So after that, then you kind of take your steps after that. But like the first thing you kind of have to do in those situations is just like set the record straight. Otherwise, it's not going to end well.
Yeah, if you've already done the confession, you got to jump on that or walk away from it right now. Like, so you should be decisive in your action currently on this. And if you already kind of came out to him that you like him,
here's the question: is like, why did it have to be when you were drunk, right? Like, don't let alcohol like take control of the situation.
Well,
right?
yeah, but I mean, what's
like,
happened. Like,
yeah, what happened happened. Like, if you're intoxicated and it happened, that's fine. I'm not blaming you for being an alcoholic or anything. But the fact that you follow up on it means that you're taking control of that situation and not letting alcohol,
Oh, that's a good point.
On the situation.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah. You don't want it to be your crutch in this very life-changing event.
So,
can be a friend. Yeah.
I hope that answers your question. This is a tough one. Yeah.
You threw me another downer, man.
Well, most of these questions are that way. These are real world questions, man.
I'm scared, Neil.
You're scared?
I'm scared, Neil. This is one. How do you stop having feelings for someone? That's really dark too.
Yeah, this is part of the show, Shindigs. We come on, we have a few laughs, and then we deal with some like serious issues that people don't know.
I don't know how to answer that. How do you stop having feelings for someone? Oh, I guess like if you're infatuated with someone,
you like someone, and the only way to do it is completely cut them out of your life. Like, I know that sounds awful and terrible, but if you do anything else, you're just going to see them all the time, and it's going to drag on and on and on and on and on and on and on. I don't mean like completely cut them out forever and ever and ever, but like separate yourself from them for a few months, or more if it takes it. Like, give yourself a giant fucking gap of time and cut them out completely. Don't hang out. You don't have to like defriend them on Facebook or shit, but you might want to do that too. But give yourself a really big gap of time where you don't see them and you don't interact with them, and then in that gap of time, push yourself for new things and expand your own horizons. You don't want to spend 3 months where you're thinking about trying to stop thinking about this person. It's like if I tell you to not think about scratching your nose, you want to scratch your nose, right? Or if I tell you to not think about your breathing, now you're kind of aware of what you're doing with your breathing, which fucking sucks. So when you cut this person out for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months, whatever, you have to like also investigate a new avenue. You have to like, pursue something else, be it new people, new passions, new hobbies. Go to fucking Burning Man this summer. Start playing StarCraft competitively. Start casting StarCraft. Go to a StarCraft event. Get yourself involved in something else that will take your mind off of it. So
start networking. Start a daily StarCraft show. Appeal to thousands of people. Broadcast to everyone every day. Make other people's boyfriends jealous.
Come on to Love Bytes. Be a guest. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's what I would say. If you're having trouble with someone, cut them out of your life for a period of time. Refocus yourself. Get into some new things, and then after you feel that you're like comfortable with where you are now, and you're not actually thinking about them, and they're not a big deal to you anymore, then you can bring them back in and be like, "Hey, what's up? Haven't seen you in, a year."
Yeah, I guess back to the point that you should be functioning as two autonomous people, right?
Yeah.
Like this is kind of the analogy. Have you seen Pacific Rim, Neil?
I haven't.
Okay, for everyone who's seen Pacific Rim in the chat,
is this going to be spoilers?
No, this is part of the movie. In Pacific Rim,
spoilers.
No, it's not. I mean, it's like in the first 1 minute, and even in the trailer.
Okay, just hurry up.
Okay, so in the Pacific Rim, two pilots are no, God damn it. Two pilots are piloting one giant Jaeger mech, right? And the point is that these two pilots have to be drift compatible because their brains have to link up to each other, so they experience each other's memories at the same time. And this is kind of the idea that you need to be drift compatible with your partner. And I don't think that's 100% true, because in a successful relationship, you have to acknowledge whether or not you can be drift compatible and be okay with that. The end.
So after that analogy, which I didn't follow in the slightest, we're going to call it a night for Love Bytes. If you guys have questions, please send me an email at koibu@regalgoblins.com or PM me on Twitch. Our next episode of Love Bytes will be in 2 weeks, which means August 1st. And by the way, August is the best month in the entire year, and it's named after Augustus Caesar. And that's why October is actually, well, July and August are what fucked up all the other months. September actually used to be the 9th month, then thus the prefix sept, 9, and oct used to be 8, or sept, 7, whatever. Anyway, the point is, August is great. Love Bites is August 1st. Send your questions to me via PM on Twitch or koibu@regalgoblins.com. And I'm going to be doing a podcast with Breger in 20 minutes on Be a Real Gamer, which we'll find out what that's all about in 20 minutes. This is Timothy Young. This is Shindigs. Shindigs, where can people find you and follow you for more whatever?
Let me put... Okay, follow me on Twitter because I'm just going to say I want more Twitter followers. I'm going to be direct.
What is your Twitter?
I put it in the chat, Shindags, and then follow
Okay,
me
his
on
name
Twitch.
is Shindigs with an I. His Twitter is Shindags with an A. You're really bad at plugging yourself.
Because someone took it, okay, and I just don't want to do the underscore things.
Yeah, I know, but you're bad at No, I'm not saying that you're bad for having a crappy Twitter name. I'm saying you're bad that you're not plugging yourself properly. Shindags, @Shindags on Twitter, guys.
Yes.
And
then...
And do you do anything else that you want to tell people about?
Yeah, and then just follow Twitch because I just stream Street Fighter now. Street Fighter is great.
Twitch.tv/Shindigs.
I just want to say thank you, Neil, for bringing me on the show, even though I've had no prior experience of giving people advice, and it was actually really frightening, but it turned out to be really fun, so thank you, Neil.
You're welcome. Thank you guys for watching, and we will see you later. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.